Senior Moments, sponsored by the Empowering Seniors Group on News Talk KVNU, 102 FM and 610 AM.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Senior Moment Show. This is Bruce Lee. I am co-hosting with my good friend, Sid Roeder. Good morning, Sid.
Good morning, Bruce.
Glad to be back again with you all. We have a very important topic to talk about today. Hopefully something that can help a lot of people out there. If not just the listeners, maybe somebody that the listeners know. But we're going to welcome to the show today Lucas Martin, who's the Assistant Director of Human Services with Bragg. Good morning, Lucas.
Good morning, Bruce. It's a pleasure to be here.
We're so thankful that you're here because what you're going to talk about is very important. But before we get to that, I want to give Sid a couple of minutes just to talk about the Empowering Seniors Group.
Absolutely. The Empowering Seniors Group, which sponsors us, is a group of professionals that has dedicated their time and efforts to providing funds and information for this radio show. For example, if you would like to learn more about the Empowering Seniors Group, you can do so online at empoweringseniors.info, or you can email us at empoweringseniors.cv@gmail.com, and the CV stands for Cache Valley. Or lastly, like always, Bruce's favorite part, you can call me personally with suggestions for this show. Anything we haven't talked about, questions you have, you can reach me at 435-512-6406.
Yes, please call Sid. And she likes those phone calls and the conversations. We love hearing from you, our listeners. And so if there's something you want us to address here on the show, or you just like to chat, then give us a call. We, as I mentioned, have Lucas Martin here, and we have kind of a tongue twister in getting all this out. So Lucas is the Assistant Director of Human Services for Bragg, which is the Bear River Association of Governments. How was that?
That was excellent.
Not bad, not bad. Okay. Well, we've been doing this for a while, so I've learned to say things like that. I have a couple of questions just about that right out of the gate. Tell me what the Assistant Director of Human Resources is, and also tell me some things about Bragg, because I think a lot of people have heard Bragg or Bear River Association of Governments and maybe don't know all the things that they do.
That's a great question. So the Human Services Department is specifically, I work with individuals who are facing a lot of emergencies. So it could be issues with their utilities. It could be folks who need help with something like taxes. Those who are homeless or at risk of becoming homeless, all those fall under the Human Services Department. So kind of work with the different wonderful case managers and staff that we have there to provide those services. But the Human Services Department is just a smaller piece of obviously a much larger organization. And we have a variety of different programs and departments. I think the easiest way to think about Bragg is that it serves different groups. It serves the community in the sense that we have like our community planning department and zoning, not zoning, but planning that helps with smaller communities and organizations that don't have their own city planners and things that can assist them. It helps with homeowners, like a first-time home buyer assistance program and an emergency home repair program. It helps with renters, people who might be at risk of losing their home or needing some assistance, like through the Section 8 Housing Choice Voucher Program, so help with ongoing rent payments. And then some of the programs just serve everybody, like someone who's getting help with the tax assistance or the utilities can be both homeowners or renters, or with the taxes, it could be a high school student living with his parents, so there could be a lot of different ways in which Bragg may be able to help you or someone you know in the community.
So it sounds to me like Bragg would be one of those phone numbers I want to have with me to call first and see if there is any help available, or maybe even turn me into the right direction, correct?
That's very true. Yeah, we have a lot of different programs that are available. And so if you have any questions, you can give us a call, 435-752-7242, and we can direct you according to your needs. Just let us know what you're interested in.
It's interesting to me how often I find myself referring people to Bragg with all the different things that Bragg does. It's a great organization, and I've had the pleasure of getting to know many of the people that work for Bragg, and just am very happy to know them. Such great people that are just trying hard to do the right thing by people and help them in our community. And Lucas, you're certainly one of them. Appreciate what you do. I guess I should mention also, Bragg actually is one of the sponsoring members of the Empowering Seniors Group, and so we thank Bragg for that. We appreciate the opportunity to help them get their message out, because there's so many good things that they do for people in the community, as we've mentioned. Lucas, we're here to talk about something specific, though. Of all those things that you just mentioned, something pertinent for this time of year is the HEAT program. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so the HEAP program stands for the Home Energy Assistance Target, and really it's a program designed to help people with their energy utility bills. So that's usually thought of as your gas or your electric, but for some people it could be helping with something like propane and a propane tank. So it's a chance for them they can apply once a year or once per heat season, and we'll try to work them, we'll definitely work them in, but they can see if they can qualify. Usually it's between $200 to $700 of benefit, and the client then decides how that's split up. So they might say that 50% goes to their gas company and 50% goes to their electricity provider, for example.
So who can qualify for the HEAT program?
So the primary qualification for the HEAT program is actually based on your income. That's determined by your family size. So for example, if you're a household of one, you could make around $1,561 and still qualify. But if you have a household of four, it'd be more like $3,219. And there's some other things we can do with that income. So if you're close to that or just a few hundred over it, we do reduce some income based on if it's earned income, we'll lower that. And also, if you have any medical bills that you've paid this last month, we can subtract those as well to qualify you.
As I understand this is a program that's not age restricted though, right? I mean, so if maybe I'm a student at the university even, I might qualify for something like this?
Yeah, absolutely. If you've got your own place and you're a student, or even if you have roommates, we would just have to qualify all of the roommates together, all their incomes added up to make sure they qualify. But that's one of where income is the primary qualifier. Now, there are a few target groups that we do try to focus on, and that's elderly, people with disabilities, and people with children under the age of 5, just recognizing that there can be more vulnerable populations facing higher expenses.
So which area do we cover, Lucas?
So we cover Box Elder, Rich, and Cache counties. And so there's a couple different ways that you can reach us in those areas. But I do want to mention that this is a statewide program. And even if you have listeners in Idaho, they have a HEAT program in Idaho. So just you need to think about that it's a federal program. But here locally, Bragg covers those 3 counties, Box Elder, Cache, and Rich counties.
Well, you opened the Pandora's box here for that. So I'm going to ask, I know Bragg does not service. Bragg is Cache County, Rich County, and Box Elder County,
yes.
Correct? So if I were listening in Preston or one of the southern Idaho communities, who would I call? What's the organization?
Yeah, so for those, I think the best place would you reach out online to their healthandwelfare.idaho.gov website and just look for the HEAT program. I said it's a national program, federal program, and so they can get the information there. They could also reach out to the local association of government or community action program, who would be able to direct them to the local office.
Thank you, Lucas. So let's make sure before we're heading out to our first break that we give you a chance one more time to tell us the phone number and maybe also the location for Bragg in case somebody would rather walk in. Yeah, so at first I actually gave you a general Bragg number. I want to give you one specific for HEAT. So for Cache and Rich counties, you can reach us at 435-713-1444. And if you live in Box Elder County, I'd love for you to reach us at 435-723-1116 to schedule an appointment. Thank you, Lucas. We're visiting today with Lucas Martin. He is Assistant Director of Human Services with Bragg here in Logan, Utah. We're learning a lot about the HEAT program, and I do apologize for butchering your last name. We're going to take a little break right now. Stay tuned.
Whether you have a small business, large corporation, or sole proprietorship, remember Cook Martin Polson has provided quality accounting services since 1977. At Cook Martin Polson, they believe you've earned it, and they're going to help you keep it. Take a minute right now to call 750-5566. That's 750-5566 to set up your tax appointment and let Cook Martin Polson show you how to keep the money you have earned.
This is Jared Ripplinger with Cook Martin Polson. You've worked hard for your money. Let us help you keep it.
This is Brian Erickson for the Sunshine Minute. To all serving on the front lines of COVID-19, thank you. And not only healthcare workers, but first responders, food service staff, grocery clerks, postal workers, delivery drivers, and many more. You provide essential cares, supplies, and services, all while working in places with potential risk. On behalf of Sunshine Terrace Foundation, we are so grateful for your support during this unprecedented challenge. We bring more to life together.
Want an inexperienced surgeon?
Okay, nurse, I'm ready for the scalpel.
How about an inexperienced airline pilot?
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain, and I'm terrified.
Experience matters, and we have it.
Hi, this is Sid Roeder with Achievement Realty. I'd love to meet with you face-to-face and give you a free consultation and market analysis. Call me today at 512-6406. Then list it, sell it, and move on.
This is Mark Thurston from White Pine Funeral Services. On behalf of all of us here at White Pine, we want to thank the community of Cache Valley for your support this past year. Thank you for selecting us as a silver winner for the Best of Northern Utah. We look forward to many more years of working with you here in our community. We know you have a choice, and we hope you will consider White Pine Funeral Services. If you have questions about cremation, funerals, or planning ahead, please contact us or visit whitepinefunerals.com.
White Pine Funeral Services. When you need us most.
Did you know 10,000 baby boomers qualify for Medicare every day? Did you know that you'll start to get swamped with mail about Medicare 6 months before your 65th birthday? Did you also know it doesn't cost anything to use an insurance agent to help you navigate through all those offers? Hi, I'm Tracy Ferris with Quality First Insurance. Let me help you understand all the offers you're receiving and find the plan that fits best for your situation. Call me today at 435-752-0101.
Welcome back to the Senior Moment Show. If you are just joining us, we're here with Lucas Martin, who is the Assistant Director of Human Services with Bragg. His office is right here in Logan. But I know that there's another office we'll talk about here in just a second. As we left for the break, Lucas was sharing his contact information. I know there may be people out here, people in the listening audience who may have need of this service or know somebody who does. So I'm going to ask you again to share those phone numbers and locations.
Sure. So for the Cache and Rich counties, they should contact 435-713-1444. And our office is at 170 North Main in Logan, Utah. And if you live in Box Elder County, feel free to reach us at 435-723-1116. And that's located at 2535 US Highway 89 in Perry, Utah.
Lucas, before we went into the radio show, you gave us a little data sheet here, and I'm quite impressed how many people were helped last season, but I'm going to let you say that number.
A little bit more than 5,500 people. It's around 2,100 households.
Wow, that's a lot. Tell me what the process looks like. It can be intimidating to some people who may want to reach out or may haven't reached out before. What is that like?
Yeah, so there's actually a couple different ways that someone could apply, and I think that can be helpful based on your situation. So, for example, we've mentioned you could call in and schedule an appointment and come to one of our offices and just meet with us directly. So that's one option. If you like to do things online, you can actually go to our website, and there's a link to the online application process. So the bragg.utah.gov is the website, and just click on the Human Services and the HEAT program. So that's another way that you can access that information. If you want to fill out an application and mail it in or drop it off, you can do that as well. And last but not least, if you're homebound for some reason, if there are health issues or other issues that make it to where you can't get out, we do have HEAT outreach workers that could actually come to someone who's disabled or elderly and can't drive to their homes and actually meet with them to complete an application there.
That's great. I want to hit that website again. I think a lot of people may go there. It was bragg.utah. Is it Utah, UTAH, or just UT?
UTAH, that's correct. So
bragg.utah.gov. And you mentioned that you said you'd actually go out to people's homes?
Yeah, there is an outreach program. So we recognize when you think about our target groups, especially one with the elderly and people with disabilities, it's not uncommon to run into someone who may have lost the ability to drive, maybe because of vision, or maybe their physical disability makes that complicated or difficult. And so that's one of the ways that we can help engage that audience specifically, is going out and meeting with them there.
Thank you, Lucas. For those that just barely tuned in, we're visiting today with Lucas Martin. He is the Assistant Director of Human Services with Bragg here in Logan, and enlightening us about the HEAT program, which is a supplemental assistance program when people have a hard time paying their electric bills and gas bills. So is there anything else about the program that I should know that we haven't talked about?
I think one thing is that there's kind of what we call a HEAT season. And so generally the HEAT program's open from November 1st through April 30th. And that's when we process the majority of these HEAT applications. Now, if you're facing an emergency outside of that time frame, let's say it's the middle of summer and you're being shut off for some reason, we do have heat crisis, and you can still reach out to us to see if you would qualify for something to help at other times. But for the regular heat program, that's kind of our target window, is November 1st through April 30th.
So is there urgency as far as, the money might run out, you need to get an application in early, or do you find that there's still money left towards April? And where does the money come from?
So there are federal LIHEAP funds, and so the funds come from the federal government to the state and are distributed to the different programs that are different areas that run the program. But we haven't run out of money since I've been there, and those that I've spoken to, not even for years, decades, maybe even they've run out of heat funds. But I'd encourage you not to wait, just because if there's any kind of reason why you don't qualify, maybe you didn't have all the documents you needed, if you wait till the last minute to come in and apply, then we may not have time for you to find the documents you need and get you qualified. So I think it's always better to reach out sooner rather than later.
Thank you, Lucas. And there's not an end to, so if I'm in need this year and I do qualify, if the same thing happens again next year, I can apply for it again?
Absolutely. This is one of those programs that you can do once a season, and it doesn't impact other programs like food stamps and some of those. So
you mentioned documents, and that's always a scary thing for me. When someone says, well, just bring your documents in, I'm always like, oh my gosh, where am I going to find those things? What does the application process look like if someone were to come in and visit with you, for example? What would they need to bring? How long does it take? What kinds of questions are asked?
Yeah, that's a great question. So there's a few basic things that'll be similar to what you use when you apply for most programs. So we'll have a photo ID for the main applicant. And then we'll get a Social Security card or proof of permanent residency, something like that for everyone in the household. So if they don't have a social, we can use a W-2, just some kind of formal government document that shows that information. We'll bring in a copy of both of our bills, so electric bill and utility bill, or if it's part of your rent, you would bring in a lease agreement that says that. We'll look at your household income, and we'll also look to see if there's any medical deductions that you want to have. We always look at the month before. So if you come to visit us in January, I'm looking at December income and December medical bills. If you come in April, I'll be looking at March. So beyond those things, if you just think of who am I and what money did I earn, and if there's any other deductions, and then those utility bills themselves, that's really all that's needed.
So just a quick follow-up on that. When people do come through and go through that process, are most people approved? Do you find a lot of people are getting denied? Do they get approved at a lesser level? What does that look like? So it's approved or not approved. There's not a partial in between there. How much they get is just based on their income and their family size. So the most common reason that people are not approved is if they don't bring everything, right? And if that's the case, if you aren't able to bring all your documents and you meet with us in, let's say, January, you can reapply in February, right? And the same thing if you were over income. If something changed in your household and you lost your job or whatever it is, you can certainly apply again within that same heat season. If something came up. Most of our applicants are approved the first time they come through.
So, Lucas, you mentioned before that they can split up the amount. So once it's clear this is the max amount you're going to get, do I kind of gamble that it's going to stay cold until April and set a certain amount for each month, or how does that happen?
Well, since you get to determine, Sid, where that money goes, I think most folks will know it creates a credit on their account. So even if they don't spend it all this year, let's say they put it towards their gas and then it warms up real quick, they don't apply till April, that's okay. They can still delay that and not delay that, but the money will still be there next year when it does get cold. So there's not really a risk. The money's not going to go anywhere.
Wonderful. We're visiting today with Lucas Martin. He is the Assistant Director of Human Services with BRAG here in Logan. This is the Senior Moments Show. We're on our second break. We'll be right back.
Reed's Pharmacy in Hiram offers free delivery service 5 days a week, Monday through Friday throughout the valley. Just stay home and they will deliver to you. With 25 different suppliers, they won't have the shortage that others might have. Also, with compounding and many other services, they will be able to serve all your needs. In order to stay safe and help slow the spread, please call Reed's Pharmacy in Hiram at 245-DRUG, and they will take care of you.
If you're retired or plan to retire soon, will you outlive your money or will your money outlive you? If you don't know the answer, I can help. Hi, I'm Patty Bartholomew, a financial consultant with Parsonex Securities. If you have questions about your financial plan or just need a second opinion, call me today at 435-227-5556.
Investments are not FDIC insured, nor are they deposits of or guaranteed by a bank or any other entity, so they may lose value. Investors should carefully consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the funds. This and other important information is contained in each fund's prospectus and summary prospectus, which can be obtained from a financial professional and should be read carefully before investing. Securities offered through Parsonex Securities, Inc., member FINRA, SIPC, 8310 South Valley Highway, Suite 110, Inglewood, Colorado, 80112-303-662-8700.
Things have been changing for Mom and Dad lately. It's getting harder to get them the help they need, while also taking care of my own family. I feel like if I help one, I neglect the other. What do I do?
This is Bruce with Comfort Care Home Care, and we understand. Their home is familiar and full of memories. Comfort Care can assist with a wide variety of tasks that help them stay there longer and give you a break. For a few hours a week to 24 hours a day. With Comfort Care, you can live your best life possible. Call me today, 754-7676.
When it comes to successful aging, eating well matters. Staying physically active matters. Getting socially engaged matters. Living alone, aging alone, it's harder to consistently do that. Hi, this is Chris Grohl with Pioneer Valley Lodge, where we make it easier to do those things every day. Our mission at Pioneer Valley Lodge in North Logan is to help seniors live better, age more gracefully, and stay independent for as long as possible. Pioneer Valley Lodge, an independent living community for seniors.
Welcome back to the show. This is the Senior Moment Show. I'm Bruce Lee here with Sid Broder, my co-host, talking with Lucas Martin, Assistant Director of Human Services at Bragg. And I'm very good at saying that now. I can say it really well. We're talking about the HEAT program, which is a really wonderful program to help people who might be struggling either, well, maybe unexpectedly. Something happens, a change in their circumstances might cause some difficulty in paying their HEAT bills. And there's some help with Bragg, and that's what Lucas is in charge of, helps people to do that, goes through that process. I had a question that we talked about a little bit off air. Let's say that November rolls around, the HEAT program starts up. I don't really need it. But as March rolls around, some circumstances have changed in my life, and I need it now. Can I get the full amount then? Or would it be a lesser amount? How does that work?
So the time of year won't affect the amount that you receive. It is going to look at your income and your family size. So if, for example, you were working more in December, and then towards the spring, maybe you lost your job or they reduced hours for you at work, then that absolutely could increase the amount that you receive later in the year. We do also look at the actual HEAT costs. So it is possible that during those coldest months, in December or January, well, usually when the bill comes out, if it's cold in December, it's your January bill that's going to be high, right? Or your February bill is going to reflect that the January months. Then those higher temperatures or colder temperatures and higher bills can also affect how much you receive a little bit.
So follow up on that then, I guess. Is there a strategy there in play? If I come in November and I'm paying my October bill, and you look at that October bill, it's probably not going to be bad. I mean, it still was warm in October. November maybe. December starting to get a little cold. January is dang cold. Those are in our home. That's usually the highest bill. How does that figure? Do you look at that as part of your evaluation?
We do. So how high the bill is, those actually HEAT costs do factor into the formula. But there's one other thought to consider. And that's the medical deduction. So for some people, they may have large medical deductions once or twice a year. Maybe they buy hearing aids, or there's something towards the end of the year that they're trying to spend out. And that could also be a good time, right? Because you may make $2,000 or $3,000 in income, but if you had $500 or $600 in medical expenses for that month, then that'll be deducted, and that could lower it and increase the amount that you get. So, I hate to say just base it entirely off of how cold it is, because we don't want everyone coming just in January. There can be other considerations for sure.
So, Lucas, do you get to deal with people that apply in person?
I do. Often as a supervisor, I get to deal with more challenging cases, and that has a lot of benefits to it. So sometimes if the situation's a little more complex and there's questions about, maybe situations where people are coming out of more challenging areas, maybe they've been homeless for a while, just getting into a place, there may be other circumstances that kind of factor into that. And so there are times when we do talk to utility companies and try and negotiate with them or work out arrangements to where someone who maybe would struggle to get utilities or something is able to do so as well. So I definitely see more exciting cases.
When you work with the utility companies, is that in addition to the benefit that they can get, so they would qualify for the financial benefit, plus you'll work with the utility companies to help make that affordable? And I guess if the answer to that is yes, can you give me maybe an example of a story or something like that?
Yeah, so there's a couple of ways you can look at that. One example is, I had someone, for example, last year who'd called in, and there are specific requirements for taking what we call a crisis application when someone is going to be shut off in the next 48 hours or they already have been shut off. And this person didn't have the money to spend on the bill as it stood, but they weren't yet to the point where we could use them under crisis. And so I went ahead and called up the utility company. We talked about some options. They were able to work out a payment plan. And so the client made a payment of about $1,300, which put them on this payment plan process. $13. I said $1,300. $13.
See, that's a big number.
Yeah, $13. But it gave them enough time to then attend their regular heat appointment. Okay. The other thing is that if they accept heat money, utility companies don't charge deposits. And so if they have a deposit through Rocky Mountain Power or Dominion Energy, that deposit can be waived for a heat eligible client. So that could be viewed as something in addition to a regular heat benefit.
What if I don't need the heat program, but I have a suspicion that I have a neighbor that might be in need? Is there something I can do?
Absolutely. I think letting them know that you're just aware of a program that could benefit them. You can give them our phone number or reach out to them. I think sometimes when people are looking for help, they're a little concerned. Sometimes there may be a little bit of shame or worry on their part that it's going to affect other parts of their life. And so when we talk openly with one another and just say, hey, I heard about this great program, it may be something that you can use. And if you're worried that you might offend them, you might frame it as that you or someone in your family could use. If you know that they have grandkids or something, and just point it out to them and the opportunity they have to get help. To be honest, I'd rather see them come into my office and get a little help with utilities than run into trouble further down the road and have a much more complicated situation involving being behind on rent or something else than if I could just help them up front with something like utilities.
People should grab their pencils because we're going to get the phone number here in just a second. But if I happen to be in a position of leadership or something like that in the community, want to get documentation to people, is there something I can pick up at Bragg to give out?
Absolutely. We would love to provide different flyers and information if you're a leader of a faith, a congregation, if you're part of an organization or agency that works with low-income households. We would love to share those details with you, and you're welcome to come by and talk to any of our caseworkers to get them.
Thank you, Lucas. Our time's about up, so let's give our listeners one last chance to pick up that phone number.
The number is for Cache and Rich counties, 435-713-1444. And if you live in Box Elder County, give us a call at 435-723-1116.
Thank you, Lucas. This is the Senior Moments Show, visiting today with Lucas Martin, the Assistant Director of Human Services with Bragg here in Logan. We talked about the HEAT program. If you know someone, send them his way. We're at the end of our time. Please tune in again next week.